Happy Friday. Let's talk solar panels and why we hate them. Just kidding, kinda. So as we're seeing higher inventory, we're also going to see more homes with solar panels. Whether or not you believe solar panels are actually helpful is a whole nother video, but let's kind of talk about how it affects the lending side. So when you've got a property that has solar panels on it and you're looking at a buyer for that, you have to look at two different options there. So either the solar panels are going to be paid off by closing by the seller from their proceeds, which is the easiest way, because if there is still a lien attached to it, that lien has to be either transferred at closing or paid off. So first option is if something is still owed on the solar panels, that the sellers will pay it off at closing. That way the buyer does not have to take on any of the costs. Depending on the seller, they may not have enough proceeds to do that, or they may just not want to. So if they are not going to be paying off the solar panels and there is still a lien on them, then the buyer will have to take over that lease or lien, and they will have to be approved for the solar panel lien through the company that has the solar panels. That's not done by us on the lending side. That's actually a separate company who owns the solar panels that will then see if they can approve them for it. What we have to do on the lending side, though, is whatever that payment is going to be for the solar panels, we have to include that in their mortgage estimate to make sure we have enough room debt to income ratio wise. So for example, I have someone right now that, including their principal, interest, property taxes, homeowners insurance, HOA, I now have to go back and add almost $150 to their estimated payment as far as their expenses and liabilities against them, because there are solar panels that are not going to be paid off, and that is the estimated payment. The tricky part becomes when it comes to an appraisal and when it comes to them qualifying for the solar panels. So when it comes to an appraisal, if the solar panels are not paid off, they are a lien against that home, just like you have a lien against your car if it's not paid all the way off, or a mortgage, for example, against that property. So when it comes time for the appraisal, the solar panels will not add any value to the property if they are not paid off. They actually are deducting from it, just like if you went to go sell your car and you still owe $10,000 on it, you don't get that as equity on the vehicle. You still owe that to someone. So from a selling agent perspective, you need to be careful of not assigning that as value to the home when you're coming up with the list price. From a buyer's agent side, you need to be wary of that and know that it may not appraise for what the property is trying to be sold for if you can clearly see that they're trying to overprice the home. They're not going to get value for the solar panels if it still has a lien on it. If the solar panels are paid off, you still may not get a high amount of value because of the amount of time it takes people to pay off solar panels. A lot of solar panels, it can be 10 years before they're paid off, and by then it's like a 10-year-old roof. You don't really get value for that. If anything, it deducts again. So you gotta be really careful when creating the value of homes and trying to use solar panels as an estimated value. So that's a big piece. And then we have that separate company that has to qualify the buyer for the solar panels. I have had it in one loan, thankfully only one, that we would have approved the buyer for the home loan. However, the company would not approve them for the solar panels because of either credit or debt to income ratios for them. So they weren't able to move forward with that loan and had to go find a different house because they couldn't get approved for the solar panels. So it's not 100% guarantee that even if I can approve them for a loan, that they will get approved for the solar panels. So all of that goes into the factors of explaining to your buyers, if they're looking at homes with solar panels, some of the issues that may come up in the lending process and in the value that they're getting. Obviously, if you have any questions or want to talk any scenarios, just reach out, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.